I view you as a very, like, process and, like, I was telling Drew about this before the show, a very process-driven individual. Like, I feel like you have a workflow for, like, everything.
I try to, yeah.
Is that naturally how you are, or did you just find that doing that really just helps you get the most out of yourself? Kind of when did you notice you even,
Dude,
like,
I love this question because this has been, like, this has been a running thing in my head the last, like I'm on a great, I call it, like, wave, like, where of motivation with this.
Yeah.
And I've kind of summed it up. It's like piece by process, right? Like when, like, I'll just use an example. Your job's stressing you out. You got a lot of workload. All right, you can sit there and complain about the fact that this work's not done, and then you want to get to a point where it is done. And your peace of mind lies in this end and beginning, right?
Yeah.
And in between, we often, like, skip over that, but, like, just working, like, I've noticed is, like, almost like a meditative thing, no matter what you do. Obviously, if it's a remedial task, when you step off, like, you get really pissed. But I notice when I'm doing things specifically and I have a process for it, there's no guesswork, aka no decision making left other than do the damn thing. I find a lot of tranquility in that, right? And, like, growing up, I've always, like, been detail orientated, and I love being creative. And I noticed, like, I drew when I was young, and I don't think this is anything I have that other people don't. I think everybody has a natural ability to understand this. It's just that we're not taught to conceptualize learning, right? And what is it, like, I want to say, like, 4 or 5 years ago, like, it might have even been before that, like, I came across, like, a group of people that, like, are really memory-based, like, learning-based, like, savants. They're just, like, top of their field.
Yeah,
but it was suggested this course called Learning How to Learn on Coursera. Free course, right? And it explains techniques for learning, memorization, like compartmentalizing memory, understanding memory, how it works in your brain.
Was it with an older dude and a lady?
Yes.
I took the same course over quarantine.
I remember you telling me
over quarantine, we were talking about just learning how to learn, and I looked it up and I took it. Awesome course. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
That same concept. Yeah. So, like, I'm like, all right, there's literally technique for everything you do. The things I gravitate, the things I love most in life are things that have that tied to it. But you can find that in almost every little, like, thing you do. Cooking. Like, it could be... recently, I started golfing a lot, but I noticed that it has the same things I see in jiu-jitsu, the same things I see in, like, everything. It's, like, technique driven. Find a niche, find one little thing, focus on that, develop that, lose yourself in that, and then progress through it. Lose yourself in the process. Results are a joke, right? Because they only exist in two states, and that's past and future. They never exist in the present. They do, but the experience, like, for example, I'll just compare it to fighting, right? You just want to fight. That experience, if you did not train for that damn fight, that experience of winning will feel, it's a different feeling than when you put the work in. Because if you got it on accident, that experience is different than winning with putting blood, sweat, and tears in preparation. Correct. Right? And then even your peace of mind, whatever, like a win or a loss, the fact that you are a single human being who did that, you versus you, for weeks, going in, preparing, then you get to this moment, you deliver in your process, right? And that result is an experience of this process, right? It's just a checkpoint. Mm-hmm. What I'm doing is not right or wrong, but it is what it is, and then I make adjustments to do it better. Mm-hmm. And when you accept that it's endless, just like it's endless till you die, we're all going to come to that point, but it's like putting everything in a process. Like, for me, it just gives me so much peace of mind. You bring a problem to me, it's like, it's not if that problem's solved, it's how I solve it, right? If someone's annoying you, right, okay, you can have a conversation and, like, have a really open dialogue. That's a very good way of solving that problem. Then there's the other side. You kick their ass, get rid of them. Like, there's a million things that you can do the wrong way that solve that problem, but it's not fulfilling, right? So for me, it's like, I'm sorry to get passionate about this, but that is an echoing concept in everything you do. And when, like, when you feel it,
Yeah.
and you want to share it, right? Like if I could be like 12 years old again and somebody share that with me, I don't know if you listen at that age. I think you really have to experience like a lot of like ups and downs to get to it.
You haven't experienced enough yet at 12.
But yeah, man, and then another source that's amazing for this was The Art of Learning, a book. It's by last name Watkin, I believe David Watkin. He's like his entire life is like amazing if you look at it. So they made a movie on this guy when he was a 12-year-old chess savant, right? Like the movie's called Chasing Bobby Fischer. And his entire, from like 12 to 18, he's immersed in the chess world, one of the best chess players, and it burnt him out, right?
Yep.
Goes from chess and then starts doing, I believe, like Tai Chi push hands.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The guy ends up training Tai Chi push hands for 3-4 years. People have been training it their whole life in Taiwan. Goes to Taiwan, like, they're like changing up the times that he's about to.
They're like fucking with him.
They're fucking with him. They're like they see him eating. They're calling him to the mat. Like all kinds of stuff. They're like terrible, right?
Yeah.
Everything against them. Wins the world championships in their home country against one of their like men, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was against them. Takes that. All right, I'm done with Tai Chi push hands. Goes into jiu-jitsu. Finds Marcelo Garcia. Starts training under Marcelo Garcia. One of the best pound for pound jiu-jitsu practitioners to ever live. Goes under his tutelage, goes through, becomes a world champion in jiu-jitsu. Now I believe he's like foil surfing, right?
Yep.
And like his and that book specifically talks about how he finds niches and specific things to be world class at. Because it's one thing to be, it's very hard to be world class at every aspect of a specific genre or like practice. But it's easier to, not easier, but it's success rate's higher if you could find a niche, a specific technique you could beat everybody out at, and then have that winning edge where you are now on a playing field with that 1%, right?
Right.
And that concept is like, hey, I just want to give myself a shot, right?
Yep.
And there's the right way and wrong way. There's a lot of people who work very hard who get nowhere because they don't want to take the time to understand that, like, it's not just about slamming your head against the wall. It's about taking a step back and understanding there's a door to your left.
Right.
So
there's a smarter, not harder aspect in certain moments, dude.
Oh yeah, and dude, piece through process, man. When you're grinding and you find something you love, you lose yourself in it, and like nobody can take that from you. That's a very like nice place to be, and people want to be around those attitudes.
Yeah, they do.
Not a lot to complain when you have a process to kind of focus back on.
Yeah. If you're the right person too, you'll take a lot from being around that in someone else as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Birds of a feather, right?
They fly together, yes, sir.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I love that subject, man. I've been
the
last week, I've been just like thinking about it a lot, and I was like talking about like golf. Like, golf's like one of those things. It's a perfect example of it. It's like you have 100 years of technique. The only thing that's changed is the technology.
Yeah.
It's like, so who am I to sit here and act like I'm smarter than anybody else? I'm just going to go to everybody who's done it the best, find the best literature, find the specifics, and find the one thing that makes a big difference. Like, I found out grip. Grip's a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
And I realized that when I went and played with a dude who's like literally head and shoulders better than me. And I sat there like a student, ego aside, and listened, and he's like, your entire grip's trash. Like, you're like, he gives me this number, 8. I think it's 8 or 4. I believe it's only 4 people in the entire PGA Tour of 180, I think, that are on it. Professionals fighting for, like, these are big checks, $12 million checks.
Right.
Only 4 of them have a split hand grip.
Yeah.
So in my head, decision making on my process. All right, my process is training this split hand grip. What is my likelihood of success? Okay, so 4 of
hundreds.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's 2.2%. I did the math that you can. That you're one of those guys, not that you can get there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the rationality? It's like, well, it greatly affects because golf's a game of like not missing, basically.
Yeah.
Same with jiu-jitsu. You're looking for openings on their mistakes.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a chess match.
Exactly. So it's like, all right, so if I want to minimize my misses, all right, my understanding is the best and most successful in the sport, the best who ever lived, have either a intertwined or an overlapping grip because you want your hands working together through that motion. So having that in mind, I started golf 3 months ago. I'm like, I am not going to sit here. I've done jiu-jitsu enough and been around people who are world-class work ethic to sit here and go to the range and hit balls hoping that a nice straight ball is the only thing I'm going to remember. I want to minimize my misses. So that's a perfect example. My grip, focus on the grip, tie it to the swing, and let the rest of it not worry about it. I don't care where that ball is going. I want to make sure, well, I do. I want to make sure it's straight, and I want to make sure that my body's working a fluid motion efficiently, you know? And there's a bunch of information out there for you to back those decisions. Now, anybody who's been doing it since they're a kid, this is where it bothers me. It's like, you've been doing it since you're 12 years old, and you go and pay that money to go out there, but you're not willing to take the time to kind of learn it a little more.
Right. Yeah.
And I understand your release might be a little different thing, but for me, it's like if you're going to do it the right way, and having a process for whatever it is you're doing really makes your success rate go through the roof with it.
For sure.
Right.
Or it lets you enjoy your process a little more because obviously you're getting better. You're seeing some kind of progression.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, your guys' fighting process, like, do you feel like that's echoed in other aspects of your lives?
Absolutely.
For sure, dude. It's like it's a hard task to sign yourself up for, you know?
Oh, man.
So, like, yeah, I think it definitely does, like, it definitely does translate over into other hard things, you know, or new skills or something like that, you know? Because in a way, if you tell yourself I'm doing one of the harder things already, and I'm practicing for one of the harder things, like, I can pick up some of the other things.
Absolutely.
So I think it in a way, I guess maybe, I don't know, the more things you do pick up and whatnot, I mean, it does translate. It does translate, you know?
Yeah.
It's like cross-training. If we're, like, looking at fighting as a whole and you cross-train different things, you know, I was just talking to him, like, I had a buddy who I went and saw today to get a shirt to, but he rock climbs a lot, you know? And I did that for the first time. And, and I'm like, dude, that cross-training for the grip would be, like, phenomenal, you know? Like, it would be great to add something like that into, like, the swimming and the biking, like, repertoire. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's just...
And that's, like, I love that you found the grip and how it translates to the rest.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, dude, damn, I'm, like, in fight camp right now, 2 weeks out. Like, I can't be going to fry my grip out with rock climbing at this moment. But, however, could be something good to...
Training-wise,
to pick up, you know, down the road a little bit, you know? So...
And it's like, mentally, that's a tough thing to do, right? I mean, even if you have lines on you, I have not rock climbed before. I've only seen, like, rock climbing and free solos.
Dude, it was hard.
Like,
it was kind of hard. I mean, I'm definitely strong upper body and whatnot. I definitely use it a little too much, you know. But like, they had like different color rocks, you know what I'm saying? And they're like I guess the level of like toughness to them.
Okay.
You know, like it goes up, you know. So like I was able to get to like the middle rock, which was like the blue one where I could not like really. I couldn't really do that path. Like
were you hanging at any point? That's where.
Yeah, some of them like there was like I think he said it was like a 45 wall or something like that. That was kind of cool, and then you just
that's where it freaking.
You get to
Spider-Man.
You get to the top and you just hop off. I don't know shit about rock climbing. I'm just saying. I did some stuff today and it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, like, I mean, it's like Free Solo, that movie a lot of people have been a big fan of. That guy climbed one of the most ridiculous, like, rock surfaces on the planet, and, like, you got to peer in to this guy's process, man.
Yeah.
And, like, one thing that I could not get out of my head is, like, how much of it was himself, like, just doing the bit, and how much it affected his relationships, right? Like, these people look at it as, you might die. And he's so locked in on his technique that that's not a thought. He's like, he eliminates that thought by trusting his process of training for it.
Right.
This guy scales it 1,000,000 times with the ropes. He knows every crevice, every inch, knows exactly what to grab. And it's like, that's to the nth degree.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, the difference, and you could tie this to mental health. It's like, just get lost in one thing. Just quit dipping your feet in. Just dive in. It's like, let it embody everything you do.
I need to go back to that myself, dude. I'm sorry, I didn't hate to interrupt.
No, you're like it's. I say it to myself too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's a lot of things we
get older, we get pulled into so many different directions, and
Well, dude, and that's like, like for me, like, this is an example. This is something like, it's been a part of that bunch of things that I dip in for a little bit, and then I dip into something, I dip out, and I'm like for me, I'm like, I want to make this what we're doing literally right here, like one of the, like, I'm doing.
We need to have like 3 things that we're like waist deep in.
Yeah, because this is only ever gonna be like successful and really help a ton of people if I'm doing this. If I'm not like a little bit and then come back and then a little bit, Yeah, but same thing, like. Because like I have fighting, it's like one of the things. Like, but I've been like searching for like what else can I like dive in,
or the thing with it.
Yeah.
What complements it? Mm-hmm. What can be done at any time?
Like I blocked off a spreadsheet, like 7 columns, and I did hour by hour, because I was like, dude, there's a point like within the last year with the pandemic and everything, I just felt like I was running so thin, man, like with so much stuff. And I was like, where's my time going, and what happened to like these things I would just lose myself in? And I found out that like I was wasting so much time like with activities, like the amount of I had like 16 hours of my week wasted, like looking at it. And it wasn't until like I put it there, and then I think about like, all right, like what are my daily processes that like I don't have, that are like, because it's like you could have a process, but it could be very fragile.
Yeah.
Right. But how do you make it anti-fragile? Where like if you're not at this place at this time, you could still do that thing.
Yep.
And that takes a lot of prep work. But damn, it's a good feeling when you've like, all right, this is my morning routine. Doesn't matter where I am on the planet. Like I feel juiced. I feel ready. This is how I built it out. I need just cold water. Time 10 minutes quiet, and like 1 page on a notebook paper, right? And boom. Now that's not mine, like, but generally I could probably like sum mine down to that. And I still feel more prepared than just rolling out of the bed, jumping on my computer for work or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And part of it's like, I want to say this because I think we have to give ourselves permission to be like absolute monsters in all of our crafts, because we live in a world where like we're so afraid of intimidating people who don't try. And trying's like not cool. It's like, look at him trying.
Look at him taking something serious.
It's like they're starting a podcast. It's like, fuck you. Yeah, they are, and they're grinding. That's like,
I'm glad that you bring this one up, dude. This is this is an epidemic right now, dude.
It's crazy.
And it just, the aspiration just gets beaten out of people, man. It just gets fucking beaten out of people. And once it's beaten out of them, like who it was beaten out by, they just continue to live their life. It's like, well,
dude, it sucks too, because
it sucks.
There's a lot of cool stuff. Like there's a lot of cool things that could be created by people that aren't, just because they think that the world's just like, what are you doing? When it's like just maybe one person. Like it might just be one person in their circle.
Or might be their circle, but like,
or their family, or
even if that is the case, like you still gotta put middle fingers in the air
at
some point, and you gotta fucking yell in.
Exactly.
You gotta go. And I look at it this way, and when it does work out, you're like, the train has resistance, but eventually when it starts moving, like it's either like get the fuck in or get the fuck out the way. Like that's it.
That momentum.
And like, but you're gonna, before you get to that moment though, like there's gonna be a lot of backlash, dude. There's gonna be a lot of backlash. There's gonna be a lot of weird feelings and whatnot, weird vibes and whatnot. But like, if you stay diligent, you stay on that path, like people are going to have to break at some point because you have not broken.
You shouldn't apologize for.
You shouldn't apologize unless
doing
you're
your best.
Right, dude.
That's something you want to do.
It's
like that you really want to do.
If you're living like a degenerate and something like that, and it's a different story. Like if you're a threat to other people's lives and shit, and you're hurting people, that's a different story. But like if you're doing something and you are trying something and you're working towards something that you want or you feel is valuable and whatnot, and it might be a little bit off the realm of like reality for other people. You know, like you can't fade to like you can't let the aspiration get beaten out of you.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Like
think about a night out. How people like 100%. Let's say you have whoever might have like a business idea or like you want to do something creative. It's Friday night, your phone's ringing, they want you to go out. You got an itch to do something.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then that's that moment. That's the devil's in the details. This is literally like, I don't want to put it in like not in a religious way. Devil's on your right side, angels on the left, or vice versa, whatever it might be. And you have a choice. And do you feed your soul is the question. Like, because at the end of the day, like, let's say you step off. Enough days like that, you'll remember back and you'll have to look in the mirror and say, you didn't love yourself enough to feed that animal that's there. You know what I'm saying? And you're just doing it because you want to make people feel comfortable. Because your friend, when he's out, is drinking and has to think about you working, man. Yeah. Well, guess what? He might drop that. He might put it down and he might join you, man.
Yeah.
Like, that might be it's benevolence in action. And honestly, you need people in the world like that are that in their communities, and that people who are similar can latch on and give themselves additional permission to do that. And those that aren't down, like, let them phase out. They'll find their crowds, man. Bars are still full Fridays. You can find a friend in there, man. But like, for know, I'd rather find mine on the mat, places like this, and having these types of conversations. You know,
absolutely.
Amen, dude.
Shouldn't be a timid soul. Bottom line with it.
Quantity or quality.
Quality. You guys got me jacked, bro.
Let's go.
This is the one that we're waiting for.
That's
the one right there, dude. That was a good one.